6th. It is Q&A day. I am live on Instagram. I'm live on YouTube and the Premed Hangout. So if you are hanging out and you are like, who is this dude? What are we doing here? I answer your questions. That's what I do. My name is Dr. Ryan Gray. If you don't know who I am, I'm a physician. I started the medical school headquarters in 2012 and have been going strong ever since. I've written some books you may have seen or heard of. And yeah, I come on here Fridays and answer your questions. What is up, Michael Motorcycle? Let me put in for all of our YouTube peeps as you are joining us. I'll put in join me live to ask questions. All right, so if you want to join live on YouTube, you can do so. If you want to join live here on Instagram, just request that join live button. Good morning, Picks with Pens. I could have read that very differently if I was going a little bit faster. All right. Hello, Miro. What's going on? So I love to answer your questions live. So if you request to join live, that is what I would prefer you do. It is Friday. I'm a little congested today. Sorry if I sound a little nasally. What is up, David? All right, we got some peeps over on Instagram or on YouTube already. Hello there.
Hello.
What's
How are you
going
doing? I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm good. What can I help you with?
Have few questions. First, is the classic "Is this clinical experience?" question.
All right. Is this clinical? Akaki coming in strong.
Yeah.
What's up?
So, I was volunteering at a daycare for children with disabilities, and I was working with a music therapist to kind of help children learn communication skill, skills, teamwork, and whatnot through music. So I was teaching guitar and working with a therapist to help them kind of acquire these social skills. Would that be considered clinical?
It's probably a stretch.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
It sounds like a fantastic experience, but
No, it was
probably not
amazing.
clinical.
Okay, probably not clinical. All right. Well, that aside, I have another question regarding the transcript entries in ACOMAS. So I'm putting all my grades in and all that right now. And so what I noticed is compared to AMCAS, they have a lot more categories for the subjects. And, like a certain class may apply to multiple subject categories. For example, I took animal development course, which is biology. It's also development. So does it matter which one I put?
I mean, it does matter because ultimately that's the whole verification process is them trying to match up everything that you have entered, comparing it to your transcript, trying to figure out was this science, was this not science. And so I think at the end of the day, all you can do is do your best, right? In terms of trying to figure out, is this clinical or is it clinical? Is it science? Is it not science? Is it a bio? Is it a whatever? So just do your best to categorize it, and then they'll figure out, based on their verification process, what they'll decide.
Okay.
Right.
And
The easiest example I give all the time is you can't just go off of the like the course number. If it's like bio 406, and a student is like, well, it says bio, right? It's a bio 406 class. But when you actually look at the syllabus and the course name, it's writing for biology majors. I'm like, that's not a biology class. That's an English class, right? So
yes.
you just have to use some judgment there.
Okay, that's another thing I was wondering about because there's some classes I took that was said biology, but it's actually like chemistry research that I got credit for.
Okay.
So
Yeah. Do your best.
yeah, okay, I see. And goddamn, there was something else. Right. So again, regarding this classes stuff, so MCAS has an option to pick with lab for a class. So most of my classes in undergrad were it's like a 3 credit class plus the lab in like one entry. So in
As
total
a
4 credits.
separate at one credit
No, no, no,
class.
no, not a separate entry on the transcript.
Not.
So
Okay.
no, no. So on transcript it just says biology with lab,
Okay.
right? And AMCAS you can actually click when it says lecture and lab.
Yep.
On the COMAS it doesn't have that option.
Yeah.
So do I just in the name write plus lab? Would that?
You need to, for COMAS, for AMCAS, for TMDSAS, whatever's on your transcript is how you enter it in. So don't like add anything to let them know, hey, this is with lab. Just do your best, and then again, they have a lot of this information. They'll figure it out.
I
I
see.
wouldn't stress about it.
Okay, I was worried because the
The
names are very
requirements,
long.
yeah, the names are wonky, and the requirements for each school is a little bit wonky, and you're gonna freak out and go, well, if they don't know if it has a lab and they require a lab, then they're just gonna reject me, and then I'm never gonna be a doctor, and I'm just gonna live with my mom for the rest of my life. Yes,
Right.
I know these downward spiral thoughts that we have.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah,
So
you'll be
yeah,
all right.
I'll just do my best, and I guess during verification process they'll kind of figure out what's
They'll
what.
figure it out. Yep.
All right. Wonderful. Well, that's all I had. Thank you very much. I'll
All
be
right, Tommy.
bothering you again on all your other live streams. So,
Yeah. All right. Take care.
all right. Thank you very much. Bye bye.
Awesome. All right. So if you want to request to join live here on the YouTube, you can. I'm posting join me here. I think that's the link. Yep. And if you want to join me live here on Instagram, you can do so as well. Let me see. There's some questions coming in here. Would patient sitter be considered clinical experience? Probably. Right. You're hanging with the patient, just chilling. Should we report an upcoming Casper test date on the test section of the application? I don't know if you can report upcoming Casper tests. It's a good question. I don't think so, right? I think it's just the MCAT, but yeah, I don't know. Can you? Someone watching? Do you know? I'm going to move this over here and this over here so I can read some comments. In my personal statement, I discussed my 2 to 3 watering events and conclusion about hospice and death, personal to my story, but would it be seen as negative, depressing topic? I talk a lot about dying as something not bad. Yeah, Sean, I think one of the common things that comes up with talking about death, talking about dying, talking about poor outcomes in an application, it doesn't necessarily have to be negative. I've seen students talk about it and it's not negative. And I've seen students talk about it and it is negative. So I don't think there's a broad, like, it's negative or not. I think ultimately it depends on how you're writing about it, what you're talking about, and ultimately what the purpose is. I think too many students will um, focus on, I need to make sure that you, the reader, know that I can't save everyone, right? That death happens. Like, well, of course, right? We can't save everyone. And so if that's your goal, then I would say let's try something different. But if you're talking about your experiences, you're talking about personal stuff that's happened, and it's a big part of why you want to be a doctor, then obviously you're going to talk about it. So go for it. All right. Is there a difference between OMT that DOs learn and what chiropractors learn? Yes, chiropractors and DOs are not the same. Different. Nobody's requesting to join live on Instagram. Again, if you want, you can. Oh, wait, it's preview, not Casper. Yeah, so preview. How about now? I was muted. I don't know how I got muted. Hello. All right, let's see if that works. Yeah, that's weird. All right. I was muted on YouTube. Sorry about that. Randomly, I look over. I'm like, oh, my mute button's on. All right. Yahoo. Here we go. So again, if you want to join me live on YouTube, you can do so. If you want to join me on Instagram, you can request to join me live. That's the best way to come hang out with me to ask your questions. All right. I'm glad I'm back on the YouTube. One question here on Instagram. Is there a specific tutoring service or course I recommend? I'm assuming you mean for the MCAT. We are partners with Blueprint MCAT. You can go check them out at blueprintmcat.com. Their live online course is wunderbar. All right. I just finished my studying abroad semester, getting my minor in Spanish in Spain. I don't know how my grades will reflect in my GPA for AMCAS and ACOMAS. Do you know where I should look at that information? First of all, a big question is whether or not you even need to put those grades in. Are they going to transfer back? Are they not? Go look at all of the instruction manuals for AMCAS and for ACOMAS, and they'll help you out. All right. Lionel, you there? Lionel's not here. Lionel keeps trying to come on and can't make it. Oh, well. All right. Well, questions? Any more questions? I'm having trouble tailoring my do-it-yourself post-bac. How many credits is enough? I've taken all of my prereqs. I have a 2.8 science GPA and a 3.21 cumulative GPA. Do I retake classes I got a C in? Potentially, right? Potentially you retake classes you got a C in. I think at some point the question is, when is enough enough, which is basically what you're asking. And Dr. Scott Wright, our advisor on our team at Medical School HQ, former director of admissions at UT Southwestern, used to run the whole TMDSAS application service. He says like 40 hours, 40 to 50 hours is kind of where, especially for someone who's a little bit lower like this, that's where you want to be as close to a 4.0 as possible. So think about that number and stop worrying about maybe that final number and try to get as high as you can go. All right, Lionel, hello, you there? I saw your head.
Hi.
What's up?
Yeah, sorry. I was doing
No
my
worries.
work and when my phone is kind of hard to get in. So I was very similar question. I've been seeing your videos, and honestly, I'm trying to do informal post-bac as well.
Okay.
My current science GPA, it was 293, and I calculated if I get 6 credits that I take and I get a A, which I intend on, I could get under the 3 limit. I did plan on taking
Under
a
or over?
year. What do you mean?
You said
Oh,
under the 3 limit. You mean over?
yeah, over the 3 limit. Yeah,
Okay.
the 3.0
The
GPA limit.
theoretical cutoff. Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
the
not
one
really
they
a
must
limit. It's
have.
just like a theoretical cutoff that we say.
Yeah, the
Let's
one
just
that I
get your
know they
limit.
won't like just take my grades and just my application, just throw it to the trash. They'll actually at
They
least.
may still, right? Maybe the school that your dream school is a 3.1, and then they're still gonna throw it in the
Yeah,
trash.
so that's what I'm just focusing on. I was just
Not,
the
not, not,
issue.
not to be Debbie Downer here, but anyway.
I mean, no, I mean, I completely understand. The ones I'm mostly leaning towards are just the medical schools, which are in Puerto Rico, which are the ones where I
Okay,
live.
awesome.
So the GPA is like 3.6 average
Okay.
mean. The MCAT's a bit lower. I'm waiting still back on my score. My question is, it was similar. So the classes I can take this summer with my university, their classes are already taken. I've gotten C's in, and I'm very confident I could score an A this time around. I would prefer to take courses I've never taken before,
Yeah.
especially higher upper division biology. That was what I majored in.
Yep.
But since they're not offering anything, and I would like to at least take them to just have apply this cycle just to see how it goes, should I still take those courses I scored a C,
Yeah.
or
I
should I
don't think
just
there's a
take
right.
completely
Yeah.
different?
I don't think there's a right or wrong answer. I think it's going to depend again on your specific situation, on the classes that are available, on your schedule.
Yeah.
Are they asynchronous classes? Are they not? I think ultimately it's it's going to depend on all of those factors, and then it's going
Okay.
to depend on the medical school to see, are they going to be super nitpicky and go, well, I see you got an A, but actually it's a retake of a C, and so it's really not an A. Maybe we're not going to give you that much credit for it, right? Most medical schools aren't going to have that sort of bandwidth to do that
Okay.
sort of calculation. But I think ultimately there are lots of factors to think about, right? Again, all of the things I mentioned, your availability and class schedules and all of that fun stuff. But then also potentially thinking outside the box a little bit. Are there
Yeah.
online classes? Or
So
maybe these are online classes that you're thinking
they
about.
are
Are
online
there online
classes, or
classes at schools here on kind of the mainland that you're like, oh, I'll just take some of those courses,
so yeah, I'm taking these
but you have
classes
to look
with,
at the medical schools in Puerto Rico and
yeah.
say, are they okay with online courses? Are they not? I don't know.
So yeah, I just was thinking I'm taking them at the University of Massachusetts because that's where I go to school,
Okay.
and they are online summer courses. That's just how it works. And I was just thinking because I could reach the minimum that they asked for, and that was just what I was trying to aim for. The
Yeah.
following semester, I was going to take more what I was going to do, the informal post-bac, and just like trying to schedule as many science courses as I can because most of
Yeah.
my GPA just suffered from my freshman year. I made some questionable decisions, especially with some of my math requirements. I got an F, and then I retook it that summer and got a B. But
Okay.
since the grade you score again doesn't really replace it, I just
Yeah.
have to add both. It's still really there. So it kind of just brings everything down.
Okay.
So that's what I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to fix it as much as possible. And I'm just wondering
Take classes. Yeah.
any advice because it's I was looking at brief for postbacks, formal, informal, and there's just so much information. I was just like, I'm not sure what to do, where to go.
Yeah. Again, I think ultimately it comes down to just what works for you. Knowing that ultimately if you choose option A, there will be schools that don't like that option and they wanted you to do option B. If you do option
Yeah.
B, there are schools that are going to have you want to do option A and they're not going to like option B. So ultimately, that's where it causes a lot of stress for students to not know, quote unquote, the right thing to do. You
Yeah.
just have to do what works for you, put your best foot forward in your application, and know that it's going to be fine.
Okay, perfect. And just one last question. I did see
Yeah.
it in the comments. Well, does shadowing, does that count as clinical experience or not really? Because you're kind of just observing for the most part.
Yeah, so specifically for AMCAS, right? The majority MD school application,
Yeah.
shadowing and clinical are separate categories.
Okay, they're
So
separate categories.
that's why we generally say shadowing is not clinical, clinical is not
Okay.
shadowing. For a COMIS, and I'm blanking just off the top of my head, and someone can fact check me. I'm pretty sure I don't. My book is behind me.
Yeah.
We'll go get it. For some reason, I'm not remembering. I'm sure on a COMIS they're kind of combined as just healthcare experience. It's not separate
Oh,
shadowing and stuff.
oh, that's perfect. So I was just trying to see like my extracurriculars and see what counts and what does not count.
Yeah.
Because for the most part, I think for clinical, I've just been working in urgent care, and
It's great.
before that, I was an EMT in an ambulance. So that's what I
Yeah,
consider.
you're getting
Cool.
great experience.
Yeah.
So that's good.
Well,
All right.
perfect. Much for the assistance.
Yeah.
I've enjoyed videos. I've learned so much.
Good.
My
Good. Good luck.
Thank you so much.
Take care. All right. So let's come back over to our friends over on Instagram. Hello. I get Kiwi. Kiwi Kim.
Hi, Dr. Gray.
Hello, Kiwi Kim.
um, I think I have two main concerns about my application so far.
Okay.
Um, I think the bulk of my worries is that I don't know if you remember, I talked about some of the adversities that I faced during my undergrad was dealing with a lot of domestic and financial abuse, especially during my freshman and early sophomore year. And I'm now entering junior year with very, very little clinical experience.
Mhm.
So I do worry that maybe it'll reflect negatively on me because of my unconventional circumstances, but also if I have a lot of hours coming from my gap year rather than during undergrad, if that makes sense.
Well, it makes sense, and it's a common fear that students have, and my response is always the same. Like, what's the alternative, right? Unless you've invented a time machine that I'm not aware of, you can't change anything.
Right.
So the two options are give up on your dream of going to med school because you didn't start clinical experience sooner, or just be able to explain if it's asked, hey, why didn't you get a lot more experience when you were in undergrad?
Okay.
You'll be fine. Right.
Thank you.
Just think about, like, we talk to a lot of, and a lot of our one-on-one advising is with a lot of non-traditional students
Right.
who don't start getting clinical experience until they're 35 or 40 or whatever older. And like, do you think they're concerned, like, oh, I didn't come out of the womb with a stethoscope, so they're not going to trust me and believe that I'm serious about this career?
I guess I do worry that it will kind of come off as, oh, well, why did you wait till the last minute? And now are you just doing it for the, the checklist?
Checking the box. That is the
Right.
concern. And there are plenty of students who do that. But if that's not you, then just apply, tell your story in your application, why you want to be a doctor. On the AMCAS application now, you have the ability to have that other impactful experiences essay. You can give some context to your application, to your story there. So I don't think it's a concern. Again, be prepared to talk about it, but I don't think it'll be a huge issue.
So I guess what I worry is that since it's such a heavy topic, would it look, I mean, it's kind of inevitable that it's a little bit negative. So even though
I wouldn't call your experience negative. It was maybe
Okay.
traumatic, but I wouldn't call it negative. Negative to me is saying, like, all doctors suck because my mom had a terrible doctor, and I'm just gonna go fix healthcare. Right?
Okay.
That's different than talking about something traumatic in your life that obviously isn't sunshine and rainbows. When I say don't be negative on an application, I'm not saying like put all of your dirty laundry away. Like, you don't have to do that. Like, if it's a part of your story, it's a part of why you're here. Like, tell that story.
Okay, I'm glad. And I guess because what I worry about is that a lot of these licensing programs are very expensive. So I'm trying to gear up working over the summer to enroll in a program, but I feel like that's going to push back farther and farther when I get my clinical experience, because I know a lot of
Why do you need to go through a licensing program? There are tons of clinical experiences out there where you don't need anything.
I've been trying to volunteer at a hospice and
Okay.
apply for caretakers, but a lot of people say, like, well, I prefer if you have experience, and then you're in that kind of loophole of like, well, I kind of need to get
I
the
can't
job
get
to
a job because I don't have experience. I can't get experience because I don't have a job. That
Right.
loophole that you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm right.
Yeah. It's fun. It's a fun thing. I would look at, first of all, depending on the state that you're in, right?
Mm-hmm.
You may or may not need certification to be like a medical assistant. If you don't need any certification to be a medical assistant in your state, I would just go and try to find a small private practice somewhere that's like, hey, I'll work for free. Like, I just, like, to get some experience.
Right.
I'll check your patients in and take their vitals and do whatever, right? I do as much just cold outreach as possible. And obviously, there's a lot of privilege that's included in being able to do things for free. So I don't take that for granted. So do whatever works, but a lot of times the smaller private practices are really great for that kind of experience, just to get your foot in the door. And then, yeah, there are certification places out there. We just started talking to a certification company that does everything online. I don't know if you've looked at online certification places.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And those are expensive, right? It's still like $2,000, $2,500 for some of these certifications. But yeah.
Okay. My last question. I have, I think, in total I withdrew an entire semester, my first semester sophomore year, and I have sprinkled, I think, in total maybe 3 or 4 W's. So 3 or 4 W's, and then one entire semester withdrawn because of my circumstances.
Mhm.
And I worry that it'll make me, and also 2 W's are from the same class.
Okay.
None of it was because these classes were difficult and that I was struggling academically. Well, I was, but mostly because of my extenuating circumstances rather
Yeah.
than I
Yeah.
feel as
I,
though
I, I think I think you need to explain a lot in that other impactful experiences essay. That's only for AMCAS. For TMDSAS, if you're applying to TMDSAS, they have an essay where you could explain that. For ACOMAS, unfortunately, there's not any sort of extenuating circumstances essay. So you'll have less opportunity on the DO application, but hopefully in some of those DO secondaries, you can explain some of your situation. So again, I think you are so worried about what happened. We can't control that. It
Right.
happened, right? It obviously sucks. You went through it, you got through it, you're here. You're pushing forward, which is awesome. You got to let go of what happened in terms of your grades and withdrawing and all this stuff, and stop worrying about how that's going to be judged, because I think what you're forgetting is the fact that as soon as someone understands just a minuscule amount of your story, they're going to understand everything that you've been through, and know that your story is even more impressive than you're giving yourself credit for.
Okay. That makes me feel so much better. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I think that's it for me.
Okay.
Thank you
Yeah.
so much,
Good luck.
Dr. Gray.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
All righty. Let's bring Callie on. Hello, Callie.
Hi, can you hear me?
I can.
Okay, good.
What's up?
Hi, thank you for having me here. So, I've been having a lot of trouble with my personal statement.
Okay.
So basically, I wrote it, and I think I wrote a lot of stories in there. It was just too much description, but also I'm just having trouble picking the stories to show because, most of my clinical experience has been in a dermatology office as an MA. So, for example, I had one patient that was really struggling with her acne and it was really affecting her mental health. So I wrote about that because I connected with her over it. And then I was told that my personal statement was like like unicorns and rainbows is what he said. Because not every patient wants to connect with you. You know what I mean? But I know that. I just don't know.
Yeah, I don't like. I've heard some of that actually recently of like, your personal statement's too positive. It needs to show more negative. I'm like, why? Like, we all know, and I was talking about this earlier. I don't know if you were on. Like, we all know that patients die. We're not going to save everyone. Like, it happens. What's so important about talking about that in a personal statement? Like, this is a personal statement. If you want to be negative, you be negative. I don't want to be negative. I want to be positive and talk about my journey and what makes me happy. And yeah, maybe unicorns and sunshine to you, but yeah. So ignore that.
Okay. Okay.
Let the haters hate, as they say.
Gotcha. Okay. Well then, I guess I've just watched so many videos and just trying to figure out what to put in my personal statement. I just don't know. So like,
yeah, look, the personal statement is what? What is the personal statement for?
Personal statement.
Yeah, but what is the goal of it?
Experience. To say why I want to be a doctor.
Exactly. Why do you want to be a doctor?
Well,
period. End of story.
And another thing, I don't know if you saw my post on Facebook a while ago, but the assistant dean of admissions said that my statement did a good job of saying why I want to be a doctor. She said, I understand completely why you want to be a doctor, but I need to know now, like, how you're going to be a good doctor, which is like,
and again, this is where their struggle amongst pre-meds and messaging, that's her perspective, right? She wants to see that. Go ask another director of admissions. They don't care about that. Right?
Yeah.
Everyone has an opinion. Right?
Okay.
So ultimately, at the end of the day, it's my perspective, right? Our philosophy, based on all of the people that we talk to, is that the personal statement is solely why do you want to be a doctor, not why do you want to be a doctor and why do you think you're going to be a good one? Because ultimately,
Right.
my perspective, and I don't know if this person is a physician, but, and maybe it's a little arrogant to say this, right? My perspective as a physician is that you don't know what it's going to take to be a good physician because you're not one yet.
Right.
So I think there's a lot of assumptions that are made of like, well, I think to be a doctor, you need to be compassionate. So let me tell you how I'm compassionate. And then all of a sudden, you're just in the world of cliches.
Yeah.
And so to me,
Yep.
that there's no authenticity there. You're just going, well, I think you have to be compassionate and empathetic and be a good listener and be a good team player. And you need to be a leader because you're the boss of the team. And like honestly, there are like 6 things that students always write about, right, in terms of what will make them a good physician. And so ultimately, I don't think there's any authenticity in that because you're just picking from a list that is pretty well understood, right?
Right.
Assumed, but there's no authenticity. And that's where I think our kind of our strategy behind helping students figure out how to tell their story is to go to authenticity and just talk about your specific journey. Don't try to have the end point be, I'm going to tell you my journey so that I end up and show you that I'm compassionate.
Yeah, no, I agree. Everything that I've learned
Yeah.
from you makes so much more sense to me because when I was writing my personal statement, I just, yeah, it was positive, but I just figured that everybody assumed that since I'm applying to medical school and I've gone through all of this and I've had these experiences, like, yes, I understand the dark side of medicine. I understand that there are patients that don't want to be treated or don't want to have a connection with you, but I didn't know that
Yeah.
that had to be in my personal statement. So, okay, I think I'm just
And it
going to
doesn't.
focus on my
Yeah.
story.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
ultimately just stop listening to everyone, including me. Understand
Okay.
you understand the goal of the personal statement. You just need to get there. And so when you think about the stories, right? You kind of led with that question of like what goes in the personal statement. I don't know what stories. Ultimately, it comes down to what are the experiences that best demonstrate that I want to do this, that I've
Okay.
proven to myself, so that I can then prove it to you that I want to do this.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Have a good day.
You too.
Bye. All righty. That's a good question. Picks with pens. Hello there.
Hi, Dr. Gray. So I was actually in your activities presentation yesterday. By the way, I'm Jerry.
Hi, Jerry. Oh, hey,
Yeah.
Jerry.
And I think I just have like 2 like more like specific technical questions in terms of like hobbies that I've kind of done throughout my entire life. Like I described that that I've done painting and bullet journaling for as far as I can remember. How would you log in hours for the application process? I think that's what I had like trouble inputting because I don't there's not like a I've done this for like 10 years kind of situation. So I was just concerned about like that part.
So, what is the category?
Oh, um it would be like I think for AMCAS it would be under hobbies,
You would
and
put it under
for
hobby.
I'm not sure
Yeah.
about Acomos.
And
Yeah.
then maybe
I'm not sure about
extracurricular activity, I think, for Comas, maybe.
Mhm.
Ultimately, for things that have really like just a long time span, like a hobby, something you've done for a long time, artistic endeavor is another one that comes up. You can either try to estimate, and I've seen estimates in the thousands of hours, right? 8,000, 9,000, 10,000 hours. Or you can just put 0 hours and it's assumed that it's probably a lot of hours. So I don't
Oh,
think you can have a right or a wrong there.
okay, cool. And also I have like another one, and I think this is just me being getting confused in terms of just transcripts. So for the Acomas, I just need to make sure that like I'm getting this right. We input our grades into Acomas, but we send our official transcripts to the schools, correct?
No, The transcripts go
Okay,
to
cool.
ACOMAS. Yeah, they go directly to
Okay.
ACOMAS.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so when you are in ACOMAS and AMCAS, you add your schools. That will allow you to print out or download a transcript request form that has all of the information that your school registrar needs to send the official transcripts.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Is that
All right,
it?
I think that's all the questions I got. Thank you so much,
Awesome.
Dr. Gray.
Yeah, you're welcome. All right. Picks with pens, our friend Jerry. Let's get Mackenzie on. Hello, Mackenzie.
How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. You actually addressed one of my questions, and I didn't know how to unrequest to join. So it's nice to talk to you. I did have a question. When are you coming to Tampa?
Next week.
Okay, I'll find that on your website.
Yeah, premedmeetup.com. I don't know if we still have tickets. Did you get a ticket or no?
I didn't get a ticket. I will look at that now, but you already answered my question, so thank you so much.
Premedmeetup.com is sold out. DM me if you want to try to come. So go to premedmeetup.com, look at the details, and if you think you can make it, just send me a DM, and we'll figure out a way to get you there.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. All right. October 6th through 8th, mappedcon.com. Go check it out. It's our first live and in-person conference this year in Baltimore, beautiful Inner Harbor area. Come join us if you're in the New York, Philadelphia, Mid-Atlantic area, Baltimore, DC, all of that fun stuff. All right. I don't see any other requests to join live. Let me see if there's any good questions here. Do you think you should always fill out other impactful experiences or only if true disadvantage? So, Monica, the other impactful experiences essay is not a disadvantaged essay. The disadvantaged essay could potentially be used for other impactful experiences essay, but you don't have to think about it in that way. If you go onto YouTube, which is where you're watching now, and look, I have a video on the disadvantaged essay. And basically what I said in that video, I think, is that I think about the disadvantaged essay, or I used to, in terms of giving context to the rest of your application. And then they changed it this year to this other impactful experiences essay. And that's exactly how they describe the essay is it gives context to the rest of your application. It could be good context. It could be bad context, but it just gives context. Do I think everyone needs to fill it out? No, I don't think so. Almost Dr. EM says, I'll be at MappedCon. Awesome. I'll be excited to see you. Say I did shadowing and clinical work combined in a single internship. Would I list that on my AMCAS as two separate experiences or a single experience, noting that I did both? You could do it either way. There's no right or wrong there. You can do it either way. All right. Should I write about my most meaningful experiences as in the ones listed in the AMCAS application in my personal statement? The most meaningful experiences and your personal statement are not connected in any way. With one caveat, if it is a most meaningful experience that helped you decide that you want to be a doctor, right? Your personal statement is why medicine. Your most meaningful essay is what experience is, what did this experience, was this experience most meaningful to you in your life as a person? Okay, that is the most meaningful experience. So they're separate things. It confuses students. They're like, should I write about it? Should I not? I don't know. Is retaking the MCAT truly a red flag? No. It is not. If I'm listing a few shadowing experiences, do I list out individual hours? Some of mine are only 5 hours long, so I'm not sure I can just write a short story instead. I would, if you have several, I would just list them. Dr. Smith, these dates, orthopedics, 5 hours. Dr. Johnson, these dates, family practice, 10 hours, whatever you want. List it, and if you have some space for a little bit of reflection, do it. Do adcoms click on links in the experiences? No, those are not any sort of active things. Dr. Gray doesn't know either. He didn't practice much. Okay. Do you know me? Do you know anything about me? Thanks, Hank. Ba-da-ba-ba. Should the other impactful experiences essay be more descriptive and factual, or can be more like a story essay? I think the other the other impactful experiences essay should be just more factual, more straightforward, no storytelling. That is what I think. All right, let's look on Instagram. If we didn't go to a conference or present a poster but are on one, can we just let it sit under research? Yeah, that would just be under research then. How would we list e-shadowing like the ones provided from MSHQ? E-shadowing is only MSHQ. That's our trademark. You would just list it under regular shadowing. That's fine. Are you at a disadvantage to be a reapplicant? Absolutely not. Only if you reapply with the same bad application, potentially bad application that didn't get you in the first time, right? Not showing improvement is a red flag. All right, folks. I think I'm going to end just a few minutes early. My voice is going today. I hope you have a wonderful day. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.